So you're thinking about moving to Bellingham, Washington, or more specifically, Point Roberts, Washington? Well, in this video, I'm going to take you inside the computer and Google Maps and show you all around Point Roberts to see if it might be a good fit for you. So you're not going to want to miss it. So let's get after it right now. First time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about eating, sleeping, playing, working, as well as the good and bad about living in Bellingham, Washington, and more specifically Point Roberts, Washington, then subscribe below and tap the bell icon for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market in Bellingham and more specifically Point Roberts. My name is Dale Serbasek and I'm with the Living in Bellingham, Washington team, and every day we get calls, texts, and emails from people just like you, and we love it. So whether you're thinking of moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We'll be happy to help you make that smooth move to the Bellingham, Washington, or more specifically, Point Roberts, Washington. Welcome to the Google Maps tour for Point Roberts, Washington. As you can see, Point Roberts is not part of the contiguous United States. It's up here off this little peninsula below the 49th parallel, which, as most of you know, is the border between the United States and Canada, and that was first part of the Oregon Treaty in 1846, which extended the boundary between the British territory to the north and the United States from the Colorado Rockies out to the Straits of Georgia here. So that happened in 1846. This is defined as a pen enclave, and by definition, a pen enclave basically means it's a piece of land that's not attached to the greater whole, and you have to drive through another area or country to get to it. So as I've just shown here, you have to cross the border in Blaine on I-5, which then converts to Canada 99. You drive down through the town of Tsawwassen and back across the border into the United States. And yes, there is a border crossing right here with U.S. Customs, just like any other border in the United States. So you can imagine this is pretty quiet border crossing. Not a lot of big weights there. There is actually a Nexus lane, and as I've described in the past, I would encourage you to get a Nexus card or at least apply for one if you're thinking you might be crossing back and forth between the United States often, because it will save you a lot of time by being able to go through the designated Nexus lane. Sometimes there's only a couple cars in that Nexus lane, and there can be 20, 30, 40, 100 cars in the non-Nexus lane, so it can save you quite a bit of time. So yeah, definitely, it's pretty unique, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the Point Roberts area. And if we zoom in here, you can see Point Roberts, not a very big piece of land. I believe it's about 4 square miles if I'm not mistaken. One of the things that's kind of nice about Point Roberts is that you can essentially walk across along the border, along the beaches, all the way down and around through the marina, back around and back up on the east side, even though there are some private homes along here. And no, you wouldn't want to stop and set up picnic for the whole day, but you can beachcomb and walk across all of these beach areas, whether there's homes or not. So that's one of the cool things about Point Roberts as well. And moving along to some distances between Point Roberts and common areas. If you do want to go from Bellingham to Point Roberts and back and forth, you're looking at a little over an hour's drive depending on the time of day that you go, because you do have to cross the border here, as I mentioned, as well as another border crossing here. Again, this one is hardly ever a wait, so it's not a very long wait to get to there. But just keep in mind that you are going to have that passport if you get to the Point Roberts area, if you want to get there. One of the things that is pretty unique about Point Roberts as well is a couple of years ago in 2020, during the Big C, as I call it, I don't want to mess with the YouTube algorithms. The only way on and off of the Point Roberts area was to take a charter, a boat that would take you in here to the marina area and off as well, or to take a small private charter plane. There is a small airstrip on Point Roberts as well. That was the only way, because when they closed down the border between Canada and the United States for a good year and a half, 2 years, it included this border right here as well. So as you can imagine, all the people that lived in Canada, in Point Roberts, could not go up to Canada and get their groceries like they were used to, so it became even sleepier of a town. Definitely, well, it's not really considered a town. One of the things that is cool about Point Roberts, just a quick little history fact, it was first discovered by Europeans in the 1792 expedition by George Vancouver, and when they came up on here, he ended up naming it after the original commander or captain of the Vancouver expedition. It was going to be a guy named Henry Roberts, so he named Point Roberts after Henry Roberts, who didn't get to end up captaining that that expedition, of course, it was George Vancouver, as we have it all known now. And moving along to the distances from Seattle to Point Roberts, you're looking at about 2 hours and 16 minutes. Again, those same border crossings that you're going to take, and then basically straight down I-5 all the way to Seattle and Vancouver, British Columbia. Of course, that's going to be the quickest. So, and one of the reasons why a lot of dual citizens live in Point Roberts is because the real estate is so much cheaper, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video. And it's very close. As you can see, it's only about 45 minutes. So rather than spending, $1 million, $2 million for a condo right in the downtown area here, you can, or even down here where houses are still going to be the $600,000-$700,000 range, you can, for about half price, get a property in Point Roberts. Again, if you are a dual citizen, because then you're allowed to work in Canada and live in Point Roberts. There are a lot of just US citizens that live in Point Roberts as well, but most of those people would be retired. And moving along to the population of Point Roberts, you're looking at just over 1,100 people. It's been a slow decline in the last 10 years or so. Not sure what the reason would be for that. A lot of the people that still live there will rent out property for Airbnbs if they have an extra room and such. So I would definitely say it is more of a retirement community, but there are still a significant number of kids that live there and attend school, and we'll get into that in a little bit as well. And moving to the close-up view of the Point Roberts area, as you can see, there's quite a few different things that you can do in the Point Roberts area. There's a lot of parks, restaurants, there's a nice marina area right down here. And again, I'll go into more specifics. There's some campgrounds and RV parks in this area. Nice big park, Lighthouse Park here, and then as well as Lily Point Beach and Marine Reserve. There's some really nice bluffs and cliffs on this side. There's a nice public beach access over here. The way I like to describe it is the area on the west side of the island. I keep saying island. Some people say it feels like living on an island when you're in Point Roberts, although it isn't, because it is cut off by Canada there. But when you are on the west coast, it feels more like the Pacific Northwest. There's a lot of evergreen trees, higher bluffs, feels like the west coast of the United States. When you are on the east side of Point Roberts along here, ironically, to me, at least in my opinion, it feels a lot like the east coast of the United States. More like that New Jersey or the Atlantic side of the United States, if you know what I mean, as far as that Atlantic City boardwalk, that type of a feel. And then of course along the bottom here, it's going to be very similar to this western side here. There's a lot of great little trails that you can walk to get down onto the beaches. And again, like I said, one of the nice things about the Point Roberts area, it's very walkable. And it doesn't take very long to drive from here over to here. I mean, we're talking like 10, 15 minutes. So it's a very drivable and a very walkable area, Point Roberts is. And let's take a closer look at some of the restaurants in the Point Roberts area. Now, I would encourage you to check your Google Maps or give them a call, because some of these restaurants have unusual hours. Some of them are only open on the weekends, some are only open for dinner time. So definitely check your calendars. Don't assume that they're going to have the standard hours of lunch and dinner Monday through Friday or Saturday and Sunday as well. You want to check that because they can change from time to time as well. Most of the restaurants are going to be in the southwest tip of the Point Roberts area. As you can see here, the red areas. Some of the more notable ones, the better ones that are going to have the best selection are going to be Kiniski's Reef Tavern, which you can see there's you can't miss it. There's this big panel truck here that's pretty goofy looking. It's been there forever. This place has probably been open, I want to say 50 or 60 years. So a lot of the locals have a lot of fond memories. One of the cool things about Kiniski's is the great outdoor seating area. You can see there's just some amazing views from the property. You can sit out there on a nice evening and watch the sunset. Again, there's a great variety of food. I'll show you some more pictures of the food selections. They also have amazing selection of drinks, pizzas. I mean, it's just a great atmosphere. And for Point Roberts being as kind of quiet and uninhabited of an area, this is quite the happening place. They've got quite a selection of food and alcohol, and you probably find this place pretty hopping most nights of the week. There's some more pictures of the great pizza, Mexican food, a lot of seafood, fish and chips, your typical cafe, pub style food that you would expect to see there. And here's some pictures of the outdoor space and some more of the indoor space. Oh, that's a video, that one's not very clear. You can see they have a good area for bar, pull tabs if you're into pull tabs. Good bar selection there. And you can see here is an example of their menu. You can see clam chowder, fries, artichoke dip, all the good stuff. And you got pork chops, grilled salmon. You can't be anywhere in the Northwest without finding grilled salmon. You can see they have quite a selection of beers and ciders, good selection of sandwiches, appetizers, wings. And then there is the Saltwater Cafe. Saltwater Cafe has some great sandwiches as well. We'll go through some of the pictures here. This place I would say is a little bit more of a country style place. Doesn't have that bar feel, but it does have a good outdoor space as well. They have great paninis, great breakfast type stuff, soups, coffee. They have a nice espresso machine, so they're going to be able to make a lot of good espresso for you. A little bit more upscale than the tavern. There's an example of that great breakfast. Look at those waffles. They also have a lot of baked goods too, good chocolates. And here's some more videos that show, or excuse me, pictures that show the interior of the area, which is, again, nice little cozy place to spend the afternoon if you're having lunch. And moving a little further to the east, we have Nina's Mexican Grill Point. And here you're going to find some good Mexican food, as you might expect. Some great tacos, looks like Mexican street tacos, chili verde, quesadillas. Oh yeah, great breakfast. This place has some limited hours, so you might want to check and make sure they're open before you head that way. And moving a little further south, we have the Breakwaters Bar and Grill, which is part of the Point Roberts Marina area. This is going to be kind of like that yacht club feel. You're going to have a nice bar, a lot of good burgers, salads, seafood, wine selection, liquor in here. Good place to hang out. If you come in on your boat and you want to relax and be close to the water, definitely you want to check this place out. Oh, that looks good. Scallops, nachos, and they even have lobster. So yeah, I'm sure you will find something that everybody's going to enjoy at one of these main 4 restaurants here in the Point Roberts area. I have been to the Reef Tavern, Saltwater Cafe, and the Mexican restaurant. I have not been to the Breakwaters Bar and Grill, but I've heard good things about it. And moving along to the schools, as I mentioned before, there's Point Roberts. They call it elementary school, but it's technically considered a primary school. It has grades kindergarten through 3rd grade. There's only one teacher there, who I believe also doubles as the principal and a couple of admin staff. So it's a very small school. And as you can imagine, there's not a lot of kids on Point Roberts. I believe the current enrollment is about 14 kids. Once they reach that 4th grade age is when they are going to hop on the bus, cross the border, and come over to the Blaine. This is the Blaine area. Let me see if I can zoom out here to give you a better idea of, again, the route that they're going to take. They are going to go, of course, like I said before, after they're done with 3rd grade, they're going to hop on the bus, go through Sawasan, come around Canada 99 and back into the Blaine area and head on into the Blaine Elementary School. As you can see right here, all the schools in Blaine are basically in this one block area here. And Point Roberts is considered part of the Blaine School District. So you can see they got the elementary school here, the high school here, and then the middle school is also in the same building as well. And probably one of the greatest features of the Point Roberts area is going to be all the parks. And you can see there's quite a few parks. And if you have a few minutes, if you haven't already watched the video, when you're done watching this one, I have a vlog video of Point Roberts where I'm actually walking around showing you some of these parks. I take you to Monument Park. I show you the Lighthouse Marine Park area here. We go along the park here, the boardwalk area. I wouldn't call it a boardwalk, but it's basically a beach area that you can walk along there, public beach access. I haven't gotten to this area. I'll probably get there in another video because there's some pretty magnificent cliffs along here. But definitely Monument Park is where they're going to have the very first Canada-US border monument, the very westernmost one. So this is going to be right here. It was placed in, I believe, the 1860s. Again, marking the 49th parallel of the border between Canada and the United States. And if you drive down this main road here, you can see there's a campground or motorhome park here. There's also a camping area right in here. And then a lot of walking that you can do and beachcombing along here in this Lighthouse Marine Park is a really nice time. And we'll come back here and look more specifically at the pictures. And then of course there is the marina area, which you can do some walking around this area. There's also a golf course. I can't remember the name of the golf course. It's not always open in this general area here, but if you like to golf, that's available as well. And I gotta love this one, Yukon Cornelius Park. If you guys remember, I think it was 1964, there was the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer TV special. And boy, I remember as a kid just waiting for that to come on back in the 80s every year. to watch that's Christmas special. And there's even a skate park right here. So let's come back here and look a little bit closer at some of the pictures. And you can see here's that monument that I was talking to you about. It's not a very big park area. You can hike down a trail that gets you down to the beach area here. So I would say you could definitely spend lunch there. You could go down, lay out the blanket, take a nice picnic. This is from the upper part before you walk down to the trail is over to the left here. I think there's a few pictures that show the trail. Yeah, here's an example of the trail they're walking down, and then that's down at the beach area. One of the things that's kind of neat about the park is you can see literally this row of hedges is the US-Canada border. Well, I guess technically you would say it's the monument right here, but there's this giant house that's in Canada right there. So pretty cool. I can't imagine what that house is worth right on the waterfront. I would say probably in the neighborhood of $5-6 million, which this same house on the Point Robert side would probably be about $2 million. So if that gives you an idea of the discrepancy in real estate prices between the United States and Canada. And as we come down here a little further south, here's the motorhome park I was telling you about right here, Sunny Point Resorts. And coming down here to the very tip, we're going to take a closer look at Lighthouse Marine Park. There's not a lot of trees. It's pretty open and flat as you can see, but there's a nice little walking path, or you can go out here onto the shoreline. The beach area is pretty gravelly, but definitely a very nice area to walk around and spend some time with the kids or running the dog around. You can see a lot of trails, a lot of picnic tables. There's some grills if you like to grill, charcoal grill. Great place to watch a sunset. Again, I'd encourage you to watch my Point Roberts vlog video if you haven't already. I'm walking along there on a beautiful sunset a few months ago. Oh wow, look at that picture. Nice fog rolling in. Oh, look at that bald eagle. And if you look to the west, you can see what they call the Tsawwassen Ferry Terminal. So of course that's part of Canada, and Tsawwassen's the name of the town just north of Point Roberts. But if you are going to take a passenger or a car ferry over to Vancouver Island, which is where Victoria is, this is probably the main location that you would pick up the ferry to go over to the Victoria area. And a lot of people like to spend a couple days over in Victoria. It's a beautiful part of Canada. You see some people there setting up their little table area. Some more very nice pictures. Here's some more of those really nice sunset pictures that people have taken. Oh wow, look at that, the snow. Doesn't snow very often up here, but that's a beautiful picture as well. Wow, look at those sunsets. And venturing over to the east, across the bottom edge of Point Roberts, we're gonna come down here to the Lily Point recreational area, and there are a lot of cliffs and amazing pictures that you can take in this area. You can see here what those cliff areas look like. It's almost like it's like you're somewhere in Europe. It's pretty unique. They come right down into the water. A nice little area to walk around. Here's some good elevated view pictures up on top of the cliffs as well. And again, here you're looking southeast. This, I believe, is a 360 panoramic drone picture. I believe the drone flew up. I don't know if it's going to load in high resolution. There it goes. As you can see, it's a pretty cool aerial view. There's also a marine reserve at Lily Point. You can see here some more great pictures showing you what that reserve area looks like, the wildlife reserve. A lot of trails and hiking you can do around this area as well. And coming back up to the Canadian-US border on the east side of Point Roberts, I mentioned before, the Maple Beach area is going to be right from the Canadian border down along this area, which has public beach access. A lot of people do like to come up here in the hot summer months and come out and jump in the water. It's very shallow out in this part of the area, so on low tide, the tide does go out quite far, and we'll show you some pictures here. You can see here's actually the monument for that particular border crossing, or excuse me, that particular border marker there. Here's a good view looking south. You can see from the border, the beach going this way. You can see it's pretty low tide right there, so it's going pretty far out. And here is a view showing you of the road that comes across here, which is part of the border. So over here is Canada, and on this side is the United States. And here's a view looking southeast. You can see Mount Baker. Again, another example of low tide and how far out you can walk on low tide. Here it shows you in the summer months, you can see people come out with their lawn chairs and relax and barbecue, enjoy the nice sunshine. And here's a view when the tide is not so low. You can see people can come in and park their boats and come and enjoy Point Roberts and spend some time walking around on the beach. And moving along to Point Roberts real estate. As you can see, there are currently 17 properties for sale in the Point Roberts area. indicated by the little green icons there. You can see there's quite a variety in price ranges. Let's go to the list here of the results, and you can see that the prices range anywhere from $139,500 all the way up to almost $5 million. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties over $1 million. There's a good number in the $800,000 to $500,000 range, and then a good deal in the $300,000 range, just to give you an idea. And moving along to properties that have sold in Point Roberts in the last 6 months, you can see there's been 23 properties indicated by the red house icons. You can see there's quite a variety of homes as well that have sold, and those have ranged anywhere from $139,000 all the way up to $950,000. So you can see it's tough to get those properties over $1 million sold right now. It is a tougher market. It is the winter months. A lot of these properties are going to be more summer vacation rental style places. So a lot of people do just kind of take them off the market if they haven't sold already, and wait till the nice spring and summer months come. And moving along to the median home prices in the Point Roberts area, you can see this is going back to 2019, where the median sales price was $283,000. And you can see over the course of the last 3 years, especially through 2020, the prices went up. I don't know what this is, this quick little jog down, probably anomaly there, an outlier. But you can see there's been a general trend up. But of course, in the last 6 months, we've seen with interest rates going up, with that median sale prices dropping a bit. But you're still looking at the mid to probably the low to the mid fours for your $400,000 for your median sale prices in the Point Roberts area. Will get you a pretty nice property. Probably has views of the water. Definitely get waterfront for over $1 million. And moving along to the months of inventory or the absorption rate, of course, you can see back in 2019. Now, one of the things you might notice when you compare and look at some of the other videos I've done, map tours for the other areas of Whatcom County, you would see that there are going to be down in that 2, 3, 4 months inventory over the last 3 years. Of course, in Point Roberts, you're going to see more of what we call a balanced market. So anything above 7%. So if we look on this graph, across here is 7%, or excuse me, 7 months of inventory, which is considered a balanced market. So you can see 2019, 2021, we were actually in what we would call a buyer's market, because anything above 7 months of inventory, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months, is considered a buyer's market. Anything below, so you can see it was pretty much right around, September of 2021 when it transitioned into a seller's market. And as it dipped down lower and lower and lower here, with this kind of spring and summer being the peak low part, meaning the biggest seller's market, you were looking at 3.1 months of inventory, but of course we're seeing that trend up now as interest rates go up. So right now we're looking at about 3.9 or 4 months of inventory. I want to thank you for sticking around to the end of this Point Roberts Google Map tour. Hope you've enjoyed the little exploration of the Point Roberts area. It really is one of those places where you just have to experience to understand the beauty and the charm of the Point Roberts area. I don't know if it's crossing over into Canada and driving around for a half hour and then going back into the United States onto Point Roberts. You really feel like you're quite isolated. Like I said, it almost feels like island living, if you know what I mean. And it is a very quiet, quaint little community, but it is very tight-knit. Most of the people know one another that live out there. There's a lot of great restaurants, some great camping areas. Like I said, very nice marina. Just a wonderful place to hang out. Great place to raise kids or to just spend a weekend or an afternoon. There's a lot of Airbnbs. People do go there for the weekends. It's definitely a nice vacation area, and you'll meet a lot of dual citizens and Canadians who work up in the Vancouver area. So there is quite a diverse amount of people there. Also, the real estate is going to be significantly cheaper than the Bellingham area. We're looking at probably 15 to 20% less, and dramatically less than what it would be right across the border to our neighbors up in the Canada area. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why so many dual citizen Canadians live down there and work, because it's only about 45 minutes up to the Vancouver area, which again is really nice as well. So definitely I would consider checking out Point Roberts if you're looking for that resort feel or that island feel. Again, you're gonna get some great deals on properties. There's some spectacular views out there, and there's plenty of things to keep you busy if you don't wanna just chill out and relax with a nice drink out on your patio with a beautiful water view. So hopefully you've enjoyed this Point Roberts tour. If you do come into the area and you're looking at buying property in Whatcom County, Bellingham, or Point Roberts, or anywhere else in the Whatcom County area, be sure to look me up, shoot me a text, send me an email, give me a call. I'd love to help you make that smooth move to the Whatcom County area, or more specifically Point Roberts. And until next time, I hope to see you around town.